Chosen one, anchor your spirit to every word I am about to speak. That longing you have been carrying, the one that sits quietly in the back of your chest like an ember that refuses to go out, stop running from it. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason, and one reason only. He sees what is about to be joined together, and he knows he cannot stop it. It all ends now. The isolation, the confusion, the silent questions you have been asking in the dark about whether this person is real, whether what you feel is real, whether you are even worthy of what you have been praying for. It ends here, not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because of what you have already done. Think back to that moment this week, when you almost settled, when you almost convinced yourself that what you had been believing for was too much to ask, too big, too holy to be for someone like you. You did not know it then. But that moment of almost was the moment heaven drew the line. You pulled back from the counterfeit, and in doing so, you activated the authentic. You did not ruin your love story. You protected it. If that sentence just landed somewhere specific in you, type in the comments right now, I protected it. I did not ruin it. Not because everything is resolved yet, but because your spirit already knows that pulling back from what was not right was not a mistake. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment that was written before the foundations of the earth, before your name was given, before your face was formed. You are standing at the threshold of something that prophets have spoken about and kings have waited for. Stay until the very last word, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the divine verdict that confirms the assignment on your union. I am going to reveal the exact lie the enemy has planted between you and this person to delay what heaven already decreed. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that seals this covenant and locks the enemy out of your love life forever. Do not leave. Your future self, the one standing beside the person God designed for you, is begging you to stay. If you walk away now, you walk away right before the door opens. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not just been uncertain, it has been heavy. Like something is pressing down on every thought you have about this person, about your future, about whether you are too late. Maybe you have been lying awake at 3 a.m. this week, staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation, wondering if you said too much or not enough. Or maybe you have been going through your day in complete silence, doing everything right on the outside. Or maybe you looked at this person, or thought of them, and felt something so deep and so specific that it frightened you because you have never felt anything like it before, and you do not know what to do with it. You feel suspended, like you are standing in a corridor between who you have been and who you are about to become, and everything around you is quiet in a way that feels both holy and terrifying. And in that corridor, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your thoughts right now. He is telling you that the reason this connection feels incomplete, delayed, complicated, is because of something you did. He is replaying that moment when you pulled away too fast. That moment when you were afraid and let it show. That moment when you chose yourself. And now you are wondering if that choice cost you the person God had for you. The accuser is telling you that you disqualified yourself, that the version of you who made those choices is not worthy of the love that heaven reserved for the chosen. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Romans 8:28 says, "All things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose." Listen to that promise. All things, not the easy things, not the beautiful things. All things, that silence, that withdrawal, that moment you thought was your greatest mistake in this connection. Heaven did not remove it from the plan. Heaven used it to build the foundation. The enemy is trying to convince you that you are watching a collapse, but you are witnessing a construction. You are not in a delay, you are in a preparation. The heaviness you feel is not the weight of something ending. It is the weight of something being completed. It is the final pressure before the breakthrough, the last breath before the cry, the last moment of darkness before the sun does not just rise. It floods everything. You think the distance between you and this person right now is evidence that it is falling apart. But let me reframe your entire reality. That distance is not destruction. That distance is design. Type 444 in the comments right now. 444 is the number of divine protection and foundational construction. What you are watching is not a collapse. It is heaven building something that cannot be shaken. Every piece of distance, every moment of uncertainty, every silence is a layer being set before the structure can bear the weight of what God is placing on top of it. Type it and declare that you see construction where the enemy wants you to see collapse. Two people do not become the most powerful couple on earth by accident. They are forged. They are tested. They are sent through a fire that would consume anyone who was not truly called to stand beside each other. And the fact that you are still standing, still believing, still feeling this pull, even when everything around you has told you to let go, that is not weakness. That is the mark of the chosen. What God joins together is not just romantic, it is strategic. And if you have been feeling like your love life has been one of the most spiritually contested areas of your existence, it is because the enemy understands something about you that you are still learning to see in yourself. He does not waste warfare on ordinary things. He reserves his most sophisticated attacks for assignments that carry the most weight. And a union between two people who both carry divine fire, that does not just change a household, that changes history. The enemy recognizes the explosive potential when two vessels, each filled with the unquenchable, uncontainable essence of the divine, are yoked together. He knows that such a union is not merely a personal victory, but a cosmic shift, a strategic alliance that can dismantle his carefully constructed fortresses and usher in an era of unprecedented light. Therefore, he pours his most cunning energies, his most insidious strategies, not against your mundane struggles, but against the sacred covenant that is poised to become a wellspring of divine power. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, if the warfare over your love life suddenly makes more sense than it ever has, type in the comments, "I am in preparation, not delay." Say it with the part of you that is tired of misreading the season you are in, because what you call delay, heaven calls construction. What you call silence, heaven calls surgery. Type it and receive that reframe as truth over your story. So let us go beneath the surface of this, because most people think the battle over their relationship is about the other person, about whether they are ready, whether they are available, whether they are worthy. But here is what is really happening. The battle is not about them. The battle is about what the two of you together would become. The enemy is not fighting your past. He is fighting your future. And the moment you understand that, everything you have experienced in love, every false start, every almost, every heartbreak that left you questioning your own worth, begins to look less like failure and more like a pattern of targeted interference. Think of your life as a grand cathedral being constructed. The enemy is not attacking the scaffolding. He is attacking the keystone, the very piece that will hold the entire magnificent structure together. He knows that if he can destabilize that one crucial element, the entire edifice of your divinely ordained future crumbles. Your past experiences, the relationships that ended in sorrow, the moments of doubt that gnawed at your soul, these were not random calamities. They were strategic assaults designed to weaken your resolve, to plant seeds of doubt about your inherent value and your capacity to hold the weight of what God has destined for you. But when you see them through the lens of divine warfare, they transform from monuments of defeat into battle scars, testaments to your resilience, and proof that you are indeed on a path of cosmic significance. Think about what happened to David before he ever sat on the throne. It was exile and betrayal and seasons where the calling felt more like a curse than a crown. And through all of it, David was being prepared not just for leadership, but for a depth of intimacy with God that only suffering could carve out. What if the same principle is true for your love story? What if every wound that left you guarded, every relationship that collapsed before it could flourish, was not proof that you are broken, but evidence that what is coming for you required a level of preparation that ordinary people never have to go through? If what was just said about David resonates with where you have been, hit the like button right now, not for the video, as a signal to yourself that you are no longer reading your story as failure, that every exile, every season of contempt, every moment the calling felt more like a curse than a crown was preparation for exactly what God is building. Let that signal be the first act of someone who sees their story differently, starting today. Your love story, too, might be an epic narrative of preparation. The very wounds that have made you guarded, the relationships that withered before they could bear fruit, are not indictments of your flaws, but the necessary chisels and hammers shaping you for a union of extraordinary purpose. They are evidence that you are being sculpted for a destiny that demands a depth of resilience, a maturity of spirit, and an unshakable faith that cannot be cultivated in the soft soil of ease. But here is where it goes deeper, because preparation without revelation is just pain. And this leads us to something most people miss entirely. You do not just need to be healed from your past. You need to understand why it happened the way it did. There is a difference between healing from a wound and receiving the wisdom encoded inside it. One stops the bleeding, the other hands you a weapon, and what is coming next will likely surprise you, because most people only ever go after the healing and never retrieve the revelation that was buried inside their pain. Without this deeper wisdom, you are left with scars that ache, a fragile heart that flinches at shadows, and a recurring susceptibility to the same patterns of destruction. The enemy delights in leaving us merely healed, but unenlightened. He would rather we just patch ourselves up superficially, never grasping the intricate blueprints of his schemes. But God's design is far more profound. He intends for every painful experience to become a sacred text, a divine syllabus from which we can learn, grow, and arm ourselves with the insight necessary to navigate the complexities of our calling. The person who is meant to stand beside you is not just someone who loves you. They are someone who was forged in a process similar enough to yours that they can recognize you, not your performance, not your highlights, but the real you, the version that was hammered and refined in hidden places. And this is why the union the enemy fears most is not between two people who had perfect lives. It is between two people who both survived what should have broken them and came out walking in purpose anyway. Because that kind of couple does not just build a life, they build a legacy. They carry an anointing that is generational. What flows through them does not stop at their door. It pours into their children, their community, their calling, and every life they touch. Someone is still in the hidden place right now, still being forged alone, not yet understanding why the process has been what it has been, not yet seeing that what they are surviving is not punishment, but preparation for someone who was being prepared by the same fire. They have not yet heard that the warfare over their love life is not random, that the enemy does not attack ordinary things, that what feels like a broken pattern is actually targeted interference because of what two people together would become. This mission exists to reach them. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you can sow a seed into the work that sends this word forward. Not a donation to a channel. A seed planted into the ground of someone else's clarity. The person who needs to understand today why they are still standing alone, still being refined, still holding on to a longing they cannot explain. A coffee. A one-time gift, a monthly place in the inner circle that keeps this mission moving. Every level is the same declaration. that someone else's love story deserves to be protected before it arrives, not just celebrated after. Bring with you, as you plant this, the specific longing this message found tonight, the one that sits like an ember that refuses to go out. Hold it, and release this seed alongside it, as the first act of someone who believes that what heaven is building in private is worth protecting in public. The union the enemy fears most is not yet visible, but you can plant toward it now, because that kind of couple does not just build a life together, they build a legacy, and what flows through them does not stop at their door. Now, once you understand that, you are ready for this. The preparation God is doing in you right now. The pruning, the silence, and a surgeon does not apologize for taking the time to do the procedure correctly when the stakes are this high. You are not being held back, you are being readied. And there is a significant difference between those two things. One produces anxiety, the other produces trust. Think of a master sculptor working on a magnificent statue, the chipping away of excess stone, the intricate carving, the polishing of the surface. These are not acts of destruction, but acts of deliberate creation. God's process in your life, especially during seasons of waiting, silence, and even discomfort, is akin to this divine artistry. The pruning is not to diminish you, but to remove what is extraneous, allowing your truest form to emerge. The silence is not abandonment, but a sacred space for you to hear His voice more clearly, undistracted by the clamor of the world. The discomfort of waiting is not a penalty, but the necessary pressure that shapes and refines. Type 777 in the comments right now. 777 is the seal of divine completion. It is the signal that the process God has you in is not infinite. It is finishing something. The sculpture is not being destroyed, it is being completed. The surgeon is not taking too long. He is being precise. Type it and declare that you trust the process enough to let it finish what it started. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next is the path that breaks the cycle for most people. The reason so many chosen ones end up in the wrong relationships again and again, even after healing, even after prayer, even after doing the work, is not because they are weak. It is because they have been operating with an incomplete understanding of what they carry. When you do not fully see the weight of your assignment, you will consistently accept connections that are not calibrated for it. You will give access to people who are never cleared to carry what you carry. And those relationships, no matter how much love exists in them, will always create friction, because there is a spiritual incompatibility that no amount of effort can resolve. This is where discernment becomes more important than desire, because desire can be manipulated. Desire responds to what looks good, what feels familiar, what soothes the loneliness in the moment. But discernment, true spiritual discernment, cuts through the surface and asks a different question entirely. It does not ask whether this person makes you feel good. It asks whether this person was sent to you by God or directed to you by your wound. Desire might whisper, "He makes me feel so loved," or "She understands my pain." But discernment, guided by the Holy Spirit, will probe deeper, asking, "Is this love cultivating my destiny or distracting me from it? Is this understanding pointing me towards God's purpose or anchoring me in my past brokenness?" The crucial question is not about comfort or familiarity, but about divine origination. Was this connection orchestrated by the heavens for your advancement? Or is it a phantom conjured by the lingering echoes of past hurts? A familiar pattern masquerading as promise. And this is the part no one wants to hear. Some of the relationships you have grieved the hardest were not God's best for you. They were the enemy's imitation of it, a counterfeit so close to the real thing that you nearly surrendered your destiny trying to make it work. The counterfeit always comes first, because if the enemy can get you locked into a connection that looks like the promise but is not, he does not have to fight your future anymore. You will build your life around a substitution and never even realize the original was still waiting. Right now, share this message with someone who is still trying to make a counterfeit work. Someone who has given everything to a connection that looks like the promise, but leaves them feeling further from peace every time. Someone who needs to hear that the original is still waiting, and they have not missed it. Share it now before you keep watching. The counterfeit could only fool you for as long as you did not fully know yourself, and that is why the wilderness was necessary, not to punish you, not to delay you, but to introduce you to yourself in ways that comfort never could. Moses did not know who he really was until the burning bush, but the burning bush only came after 40 years in the desert. God was not wasting those 40 years. He was stripping away every false identity Moses had inherited from Pharaoh's house, so that when the real assignment came, Moses would answer from a place of truth instead of pretense. Your wilderness season, however long or arduous it may seem, is precisely this process of divesting from the borrowed identities and embracing the authentic essence of who God created you to be. You have been in your own desert, and like Moses, you have probably asked more than once why it is taking so long. But the real question is not about timing. The real question is whether you are willing to let the desert finish its work. Because the moment you exit prematurely, you carry the unfinished pieces into the promise, and they become the very thing that destabilizes what God built for you. Type 1111 in the comments right now. 1111 is the number of new beginnings and divine alignment. It is the signal that what God is doing in the wilderness is getting ready to break into visibility. The burning bush is not far. The alignment is not distant. The person and the season are not withholding themselves from you. They are approaching on heaven's timetable. Type it and declare that you are aligned for what is coming even before you can see it fully. There is something God builds into a chosen partnership that cannot be manufactured, cannot be rushed, and cannot be borrowed from someone else's love story. It is a shared language of the Spirit, a resonance so specific that when you encounter the right person, something in you will recognize something in them that has nothing to do with attraction and everything to do with alignment. And that alignment will not feel like fireworks. It will feel like rest, like exhaling for the first time in years, like coming home to a place you have never been but have always known. This is the sign most people overlook because they have been taught to look for intensity. They have mistaken chaos for chemistry and anxiety for passion. But what God is about to bring into your life will not destabilize you. It will not keep you guessing. It will not leave you constantly proving your worth. It will steady you. It will see you. It will call you higher without making you feel small. True spiritual alignment is not a volcanic eruption. It is the deep, silent flow of a mighty river. It is the recognition of a kindred spirit, not based on superficial attraction or fleeting passion, but on a profound resonance at the soul level. It is the feeling of stepping into a space where your spirit can finally uncoil, where the constant tension of striving and performing dissolves, replaced by a profound sense of peace and belonging. This connection does not demand you prove your worth. It affirms it. It does not create chaos. It cultivates calm. It does not destabilize you. It grounds you. Type 333 in the comments right now. 333 means you are not alone in this waiting, not in the longing, not in the questions at 3 in the morning, not in the ache that sits quietly in the back of your chest like an ember that refuses to go out. Every person typing alongside you right now is carrying the same holy tension between what they feel and what they can yet see. You are not isolated. You are in a company of people whom God is simultaneously preparing for something that will steady them, see them, and call them higher. Type it and receive the reminder that the waiting room is not empty. And here is the part you probably did not expect. The thing that has been blocking this union from arriving is not the enemy's attacks, as real as those have been. It is not your past, as painful as it was. And it is not the other person's unreadiness. The hidden root, the one thing that has quietly kept the door from opening, is that some part of you has not yet fully believed you deserve a love that does not cost you your peace. You have been so conditioned by love that came with conditions. Love that required you to shrink. Love that always had a price, that when something wholesome and pure and aligned begins to approach your life, something in you gets uncomfortable with it, and that discomfort disguises itself as discernment. It whispers that it is too good, that something must be wrong, that you should be careful, that you have been fooled before. This is the most insidious barrier, because it masquerades as wisdom. You have been trained in the school of hard knocks, where love was a transaction, an exchange that always demanded a piece of your soul. You learned to associate love with struggle, with compromise, with the painful shedding of your authentic self. So when a love appears that is genuinely peaceful, pure, and aligned with your highest good, a part of you recoils. It screams, "This cannot be right. It is too easy. It is a trap." This internal discomfort, born from a lifetime of conditioning, twists itself into a sophisticated form of self-sabotage, parading as healthy caution. It whispers doubts, conjures phantom threats, and urges you to protect yourself from the very blessing you have been praying for. All because it does not fit the familiar, painful narrative you have internalized. And until that deep interior agreement is broken, the one that says love for you has to be hard to be real. The door stays closed, not because God is not faithful, not because your person is not out there, but because the version of you that walks into that union must be someone who is fully ready to receive it without sabotaging it. That hidden agreement, the one that says love must cost you something to be real, is not broken by wanting it to be different. It is broken by doing something that contradicts it. Through the link in the description or the pinned comment, there is an act of release available to you right now. A seed you can plant into this mission that says, with something real and tangible, I am choosing to release what costs me my peace and receive what restores it. A coffee, a one-time gift, a monthly place in the inner circle. This is not giving because you have extra. It is the first act of someone choosing to contradict the agreement that love must be hard. Because the version of you that finally receives the aligned union God prepared is not the version that waits to feel differently. It is the version that acts differently first. Bring with you as you release this the specific agreement you recognize in yourself. The one that has been whispering it is too good, too easy. It must be a trap. Hold it clearly, and let this seed be the moment you chose the new agreement instead. That you are worthy of a love that does not cost you your peace. That wholeness in love is not a fantasy. That peace is not weakness. It is the signal. God is not withholding your destined partner. He is waiting for the version of you who is equipped to not only receive, but to sustain that sacred union without succumbing to old patterns of self-destruction. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not when you feel more prepared. Right now, in this very second, the Most High is inviting you to make a decision, not a feeling, not a wish, but a decision that you are worthy of the love He designed before you were born, that the suffering was not your identity, that the delay was not your destiny, that the two of you and the one He has already prepared, will walk in a dimension of love and purpose and power that the world has been waiting to witness. Place your hand on your heart right now and speak this over yourself. I release every agreement I made with love that required me to lose myself. I release every wound that told me I was too much or never enough. I cancel every counterfeit connection that was sent to occupy the space God reserved for something holy. I declare that I am fully ready to receive the love that heaven designed for me, not the imitation, not the substitute, but the real thing. I declare that my partner and I will walk in alignment, in purpose, in power, and in peace. I declare that what God joins in us will not be broken, will not be interrupted, and will not be stopped. I am chosen. I am worthy. And the most powerful chapter of my story is not behind me. It is just beginning. Type in the comments right now. I am chosen. I am worthy. What God joins will not be stopped. Write the whole declaration. Let it stand in writing before this message ends. Because what you declare over your love story in faith becomes the atmosphere your person is walking toward. Seal it now. If this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone still in the corridor between who they have been and who they are about to become. Still carrying a longing they cannot explain. Still wondering if they are worthy of what they have been praying for. Share it now, and if you want to stay connected to messages like this, subscribe so the next word knows exactly where to find you. Your breakthrough is not coming, it is already here.